Everybody to the Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 Idlewise Board of Commissioners meeting. It's 9 a.m. and the temperature is approaching 80 already. And the first thing we'll do is approve the agenda, and there's a question as to whether we should have a non-public session.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea why we would?
Yes.
And what kind of non-public?
Like what classification?
Reputation?
Probably reputation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you wanna, we'll amend the agenda to have a non-public at the end of this meeting?
Yes.
All right,
All in favor of the agenda as modified?
Aye.
all right.
3-0 on that. Next, we'll move to the approval of the minutes of June 15th and June, kind of like through June 19th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had a couple of things. Do you have anything while I pull it up?
I had nothing.
I found something.
Microsoft has a nit also.
Mm-hmm.
You're exhaling like you have things.
I had one that I found working on the motion log, but it goes back to June 10th. So it's a prior, it's the ones we approved last week, and it's a road spelling.
Okay.
Constance is spelt with a C, not a K.
Oh, wow.
Really?
No.
No, it isn't.
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna look that up right now.
I
thought you
spell
were-
all the roads wrong, so if I wrote it, that's probably why.
I've never seen it with a C.
Constance is the one down that crosses across, like parallel
Between
to
Griston and
Granville.
Bergdorf.
Granville, right?
No, Griston and Bergdorf.
So, did I do it with a K or a C?
It's with a
It's-
K. Constance. Konstanz
Yes,
place.
but the minutes say C
Okay, gotcha.
Oh.
from,
I thought you were saying it was
Yeah.
supposed
The
to
way
be
you
a
said it,
C.
you had me thinking.
Yeah, I thought you were saying it should be with a
Yes.
C.
Okay, great.
Okay.
yes, so even though it's a prior,
Yep.
you know, we already approved them last week, I think we should get that fixed for the proper road spelling.
June 10th, you said.
Yes, June 10th.
There should be a drinking game based on the names of our roads.
I'd lose.
I do look them up.
Willingly.
Oh, for years I pronounced it Burstenstock or something like beer, but it's really Bristenstock?
Yeah.
Bristenstock.
Bristenstock.
You haven't got Thusis down yet.
Oh, I got Tusis down.
Thusis.
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 No, it's Tusis.
No, it is not.
Are you doing it with an Austrian accent?
Tusis.
There's another one you do that.
I don't know.
Is that it on your?
Yep, that was, I didn't have anything on
Okay.
So,
these ones.
on the approval of the agenda in the minutes,
Oh,
number one, Microsoft wants the word "the" between at and. You have
on the
non-public
agenda?
session,
Oh,
comma,
the agenda portion.
in the minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
number one is approval of the agenda.
Yeah,
And you have at end, and Microsoft wants at the end. For the reader. And, under 3, approval of manifests. The motion is to not just approve the operation manifest, it's to discuss and approve.
okay.
And that's true on the second one too with water. I think I always say that, or I always try to say that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And under Commissioner's report, the first bullet, second sentence says, one is the insurance coverage through, and through is got a U, an O, a G, and an H in there. You're streamlining it. I don't try to make a laugh, but. At the end of that paragraph, it says that I made a motion to ask the administrator to approve, to add to the agenda for the Madison Selectmen to release the payment. There was a second and a vote on that, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
So I think you seconded, Nancy,
Yes.
and the vote was 3-0 to approve that. Go back to the video and see if I'm wrong.
No, I'm not gonna bother doing that.
Yeah, okay. Then, I think the only other thing I have, yeah, the last thing I have is under the DPW report. 6 or 7 bullets down starts with body work. Done at the garage on the 2009 International.
Okay,
It's probably dump body work. They weren't working on the body of the truck, they were working on the dump. You weren't doing Bondo on the body of the truck, right?
No, we were welding pieces to the body of the truck. We were fabricating some stuff to secure the body of the truck. So we were doing some welding to the truck.
Not the dump body. Because when I was there, you were up on the dump. Yuri and Tony were up
that's
on the dump body. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the body of the truck. They were welding some spots that have gotten rotted and
I would put dump body in there, not the. That's all I have. With those amendments, how do you vote to approve these minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0 on approval of the minutes. So then at 9:07, we'll move to the operations and payroll manifest. I'll make a motion that we discuss and approve the operations payroll and payroll manifest for $20,308.87. Motion
Second.
to discuss and approve, yes, okay. Nancy seconds. So, it was a standard payroll. I think it reflects some increases in bonuses. And we have the monthly bill for the copier, and we have R.L. Heath and Sons invoice for the work done on Bergdorf, and $67.50 is being charged to the warrant article for Bergdorf, and the test holes are being charged to the warrant article for the Bergdorf water lines. So that's that split. And that's it for the rest of its payroll. Any questions on, discussion on this manifest for $20,308.89? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0 on approving this manifest. So next we move to the water manifest. And I'll make a motion that we discuss and approve this manifest for $3,020.12.
Second.
Discussion, we are paying, Simply Water went to the North Conway Water Precinct and picked up some parts for curb stops, and that's for $401.40. And then the second one is for reimbursing the operating fund for
Correct.
using its checkbook to pay bills.
yep,
And that's reimbursing the operating fund for $2,618.72. Any questions or discussion on this manifest? All in favor of the manifest, say aye.
Aye.
3-0 on approving $3,020.12 in that manifest. So now at 9:09, we move to the DPW report. Good morning, Jeff.
howdy. So, been staying busy.
Yes.
Did some ditching down on Apron Vale. So we got that going. Tony's away this week. So Yuri and I are gonna stay busy doing some other things, tidying up some places. We're gonna get the speed bumps in tomorrow morning, with the meeting today. I didn't wanna kinda let it go into the afternoon with it being so hot, so we'll try to get
Good
that done
idea.
first thing in the morning now that the buses have stopped. Which speed bumps are always a challenge, the pavement in those spots and any spots in the district are pretty beat up, so what we have are, there's anchors in the pavement, and we try to line the holes up and shoot our spikes, our screws into those anchors, which, over time, the anchors get beat up, and with the pavement being so hard, they're tough to kind of replace, but we'll manage, we'll get them in, and they'll be functioning for the season. Got our no parking signs around Boulder Beach, and I took those signs down at the Hotwell parking lot that we talked about, off the building and down the end there. I did find we found two 10-ton signs in the shop, some older signs, so I don't know if we wanna take the 8-ton off that end of Idlewise Drive and replace it with a 10, or what the plan was going forward with the
I
limit.
make a motion that we change the 8-ton sign at the far end of Idlewise Drive to a 10-ton sign.
Second.
Discussion, should we also replace the one coming from 113 because it's been written over? It says 10, but you can tell it's been written over.
Well, that's kinda how these signs are too.
Yeah,
Oh, all right, never
It's
mind.
kinda the way the signs are that we have, I
I
guess.
thought if we had two pristine
Or
signs
Sharpie.
saying,
There's nothing pristine about these signs I found. I'll try to
It's
knock
a
some
road
dust
sign.
off of them and scrub up a little bit, but they are older signs, but they do clearly say 10 tons,
okay.
like the
then-
ones that are out there, so.
And then end of discussion, let's replace that one at the far end of Idlewise Drive to.
how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0, change the sign.
So, Stuart did the test pits and the ditching on Bergdorf. He did need a load of gravel, in a spot where I don't know, if it got in a little soft or something, so I did bring him a load of gravel. I marked on the sheet, which gravel went to him and where there.
Right.
And then we've used some of the other gravel to fill some potholes on Idlewise Drive, Burn Drive, and there was a couple other ones here and there. We were hoping to grade Idlewise Drive yesterday, but there's been so much construction going on and people parking in the street to do what they need to do and stuff, so we went with the pothole filling for now, and it's pretty passable. We put some water out on it to stiffen it up a little bit, so I think we'll bought us some time on that.
I came out of Thusis yesterday morning, and I saw that Idlewise Drive was being graded. Then I noticed that it didn't say Volvo on the grader as it came by Thusis on Idlewise Road, part of Idlewise Drive.
Yeah.
It was the town's grader
Yeah.
turning around.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw them go by and I said, oh, thank goodness, because the Madison part of Idlewise Drive is far worse than ours.
It was rutted up pretty good from the
Yeah.
rain.
Yeah,
We had some deep ones too.
They did a good
so-
job grading it though,
Yeah, so now the whole thing is pretty smooth for the most part right now.
because you guys patched.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good thing.
So grading it will happen when Tony returns from,
Yeah,
This
we'll,
week off.
we'll probably put a grade on that depending on how this potholes hold up and Mother Nature, what she does to us, and we do wanna continue finishing the ditching on Afrinvale. We did notice that the grader, we keep the wing tower on the grader rather than taking it off. It's a pretty big process taking it off, and it also acts as a belly pan. There's no belly pan under the grader, so you got filters and things underneath there that could, when you're grading and you got them windrows that could get up underneath there. So the wing tower acts as a nice belly pan for that. But it is kind of a bad design where something goes south on it here and there, and Tony's welded it in the past with some success, but it's broken again. So it's over at Albany Service, and we know Alan could put it together a lot better than we can. So that's there now while Tony's off, so he's gonna get that repair done to get that back into tip-top shape. So just a heads up on that, you'll see something from that in a couple of weeks, I'm sure.
he's getting some pretty big boulders coming out of the bank.
We have,
He goes down the road with the wing and with the moldboard, and as he's doing the bank to do the ditch, he'll get a 2 cubic foot rock a big one that'll
Yeah,
go
get
up against the tower, so.
Yeah, so that happens from time to time. A lot of times we try to, once they gets into that, get the backhoe, he backs out, get the backhoe in there and remove those. So yeah, that bank had quite a few nuggets in it. As does a lot of places here in Madison. We are the home of the boulder for a reason.
Yep.
So yeah, that's that type of stuff. So the power company did or Fidium, whichever one, did fix that wire off of Interlake and onto Blendon.
Okay.
So that's all set. They put that back up in the air and got rid of that temporary setup. We had a tree, guys, go across some wires on Geneva that the power company had to kind of clean up and make some repairs, and left the tree in the road or the big size limb there. So we took care of that, and just like I say, business as usual. We're doing some trimming around the mailboxes there. I'm gonna blow that area off and clean that up and do some trimming around the kayak racks and the paths down to them and the beaches and stuff like that this morning while it's not too hot, and straighten a few things up around the shop. But yeah, last week, I wrote down what we did.
Yeah, that was
what
good.
accomplished.
Good getting those reports.
So yeah, no, things are going along, and we're gonna keep moving along and get some cooler weather, I think, by the end of the week.
Yes.
After the work was done on Bergdorf, looked like his machine might have hit one of the trees that has
Yeah.
a branch hanging
Should
down
probably go
to the
snip that or
windshield height.
something.
Can you put that on your list too? Maybe bring that pole cutter
Yeah,
out
we'll
and
go,
get that.
we'll go snip that. Yeah, oh yeah, we'll take care of that this afternoon or when I leave here.
Another thing is, I don't know what the rest of the beaches look like, but Boulder Beach has a lot of grass growing up in the sand. If you take a look at that,
Okay.
I don't know what we have to do to. It's almost like it needs to have a
Gotta
hole.
be weeded.
Yeah.
Just raking it over, kill it?
It'd be
Rake
a
Not
lot of
really,
work.
the rake just kinda runs it, not flattens it down and it pops back
You
out.
The
need-
roots are
need to
still
get
there.
it
You
by
gotta
the
pull them by
roots.
the roots, you gotta
Yeah.
kinda get
Need a
out there and
hole.
pick them, sometimes when the people sit on the beach, they start pulling them out.
Oh, yeah.
That could, yeah, maybe that's how the Chinese would do it. Have 1,000 people show up and just pull them.
I mean, if it's something you want us to hackle, we can go
Well,
out there.
I'm just kicking around ideas. The easiest way to do that.
Is it grass?
Yeah, it's
Weeds.
Like the tall grass kind of stuff?
it's not. It's about 4 inches high.
Yeah.
It's not a tall grass growing in there. Kind of grass that can grow in a sterile environment. Really, it's got to get down past the sand into the.
Yeah, right.
So think about that. An easy way to take care of that.
Right.
It's not something you do this afternoon.
I don't know.
Maybe make a contest out of it.
But yeah, that's about all I have right now.
Okay.
Any questions for Jeff?
No?
Get some water and ice.
Yes.
Don't go too hot today.
Yeah, no, we got a fridge full of it, so we'll be staying hydrated.
Well, thank you.
You got it. Have a good day.
You
Do you
too.
want him to stick around for your reports or no, you good?
I covered my things
Okay.
with,
I did see a couple things down here to Hotwell driveway or Riggy. I mean, you guys all.
let me just cover this one. So the plan is to measure how fast New Hampshire got the FEMA money to us so that we could do cash flow and figure out our system of advancing the projects. So I checked today. On May 5th, I sent a spreadsheet to New Hampshire to say that we had done the shoulder work of the 7 roads that needed asphalt work done. And it wasn't until the end of May that New Hampshire informed me that I needed a formal letter requesting it, sending them the spreadsheet with all the details of the hours and the employees and the equipment and the amount of material we used. So on May 30th, I sent a formal letter with the summary of the spreadsheet that I sent them on the 5th. So now we're at June 24th, so we're approaching a month since the formal letter went in. Almost 2 months since I sent the spreadsheet. which they have to go over before they release the money. And I'm saying this because it usually results in the fact that they're sending the money right now as I'm talking. But at this moment, I'm not really optimistic about the cash flow. Now, we can adjust the system down, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna get a lot done this year because of the cash flow constraints. So I may ask them for a little explanation, because there's a lot of stuff that I could invoice for with formal requests. Like all of the culvert work that the DPW did in 2024, when we didn't have the grader. They focused on cleaning culverts, and Jeff did a handwritten diary of what was done, and I'm kind of like not focusing on getting this stuff into New Hampshire because I'm not seeing them
Turn it around.
turn it around. So, and in the news, I'm listening to the head of Homeland Security say that she wants to wind down FEMA as an organization and turn it over to the states, and I don't know what that means for us with this obligated. The good news was, since last week, FEMA obligated reimbursement for the Barden, Bergdorf culvert work that was done in 2023. And I forwarded that to you guys, so I may turn around and put that right out, and then start working on the 2023 culvert work that was done.
Yeah.
That's gonna take a little time. That's sitting down with you, maybe at the end of the day,
Yeah,
and just going over it as to how we should report that.
right,
It may only take 10 minutes.
yeah,
But that's where FEMA is, and I just wanted to get that out while Jeff was here so that he knows.
that's good stuff.
Does
So
that
they
mean you
name-
have to submit a formal letter for the Bergdorf Barden work?
I didn't know until the end of May that New Hampshire wants formal letters
Mm-hmm,
to do the request. Sending them the workbook they asked for
mm-hmm.
doesn't do it.
Yeah.
So now I know what the formal letter looks like. I also have to do a quarterly report, which is due June 30th. So to answer your question, I'm believing that each piece that I do, for example, I want to get one in, I now have an invoice from R.L. Heath and Son for the Bergdorf ditching. That's standalone. I have to probably make a spreadsheet that just has that 1-2 day period
Right,
where Heath was working on Bergdorf. There's the standalone invoice,
Right,
pretty straightforward, get
Yeah.
that in and start timing that one. That's the game as I understand it. And so I don't know, the only thing that we've gotten is this advance for architectural and engineering.
oh, we didn't get anything for the
No.
Bergdorf or Barden, oh, you just put in for it now.
FEMA asked for the workbook for it when the new FEMA team switched over, which was in April. They've had this, they sent it out into other parts of FEMA. We got notification that FEMA is telling New Hampshire they've obligated the money. Now it's up to New
Oh,
Hampshire
now
to
it's
decide
state to whether, okay.
whether they give it to us or not.
Oh, I got excited, thought we got some, oh.
Yeah,
Okay, it's at the next stage.
yeah, we
before
need to get
some.
excited about anything positive.
Right, right, so it's at the next stage before we get, well, that's a step closer,
So,
baby steps.
so I think what I'll do is get the Heath invoice for Bergdorf in quickly, and then follow up with this Barden Bergdorf, get that in, and then we'll start working on all of the culvert work that you did in 2024, which is basically 2 guys,
Right, yeah.
'Cause you
the
only
two
had
of
2
us.
guys.
Yeah,
Right.
and
right,
the truck.
and yeah, so it'd be the backhoe, and sometimes it was maybe the ram, and sometimes it was the big truck, depending on the pipe, the culvert, and
That's what I need
the
to.
road,
That's
so,
the only detail I need to cover with you then.
yeah.
So we may have to go through the whole
Yeah.
list and make notes of that.
But I'll keep, I'll keep, when we get Appenvale done, both sides, next week when Tony's back, I'll have everything written down for that, so you could have that for submittal and all that
They're
stuff.
driving down Appenville faster, and they haven't even put any gravel down yet.
Right.
This is ditching though.
Yeah, we're ditching it, so I mean, I've got all the loads that we've been, taking
Yeah.
care of, and
I think the backhoe's going down,
the
and
man hours and the equipment we've been using,
Right.
I've been tracking it also.
when the backhoe goes down and picks up what the grader has pulled out of the ditch,
Right.
it kind of smooths the road out,
Yeah,
so they're going faster already.
right, oh yeah, and then Tony goes back and butters it up at the end too,
Oh.
he knows how to work that thing like a rake,
Wow.
Yeah,
so,
now you get the speeding problem.
right.
We'll see how that goes.
Luckily, nobody really uses that way as much, you know what I mean? It's another way in and out, but a lot of people don't realize that, so it's kind of a hidden gem as far as the traffic staying off of it. You've always been lucky with that.
There are more cars than otherwise drive, but it's the way in and out for
Right,
that whole southern part of the foothill of
right,
Emerson Mountain,
yeah,
which Rhinebeck is part of that.
right.
So that's all I wanted to cover while Jeff was here, so he's informed on that.
Okay. Just refresh my memory, what are you two guys working on today? Where are you gonna be?
Like I said, we're just doing some trimming around some of those things, and then, yeah, straightening some things up, cleaning up around the shops and stuff like that.
Okay,
It's gonna be brutal this afternoon.
yeah.
Yeah, so I figure we get some stuff neatened up a little bit here and there, and stay out of the sun as much as possible.
Good idea, good
Yeah.
idea, yep.
So. Or stay in a piece of equipment with the AC going. But, alrighty,
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
stay cool, thank you.
We'll work on it.
So at 9:27, we'll go into commissioners' reports. So I covered the FEMA stuff, and I covered the observation of Boulder Beach and the grass growing
Yeah.
on it. The other thing I wanted to discuss is the installation of the uranium treatment system. We got information from the tests that Simply Water did on the pumps, how much it pumps the water flow out of that well system, and we got the report of him asking vendors, a vendor I guess, what type of system. There seems to be two options, and the best way I could summarize it without studying it is to say one of them seems to have a backflow system to clean the iron out of the modules that have the uranium resins in them, resin capture for uranium. But we don't have any numbers of what the total cost of installing this thing is. And my first question of my report is, are we looking for competitive bids on installing this? Or are we defaulting to having the water operator install it at whatever price he says?
It's a good question. Part of the issue, I think, is we haven't seen Simply Water here in quite some time. I know they're busy out on the town doing what they're doing, but it'd be good to get him in to give his report, but also to
Talk about that.
talk about that, to put together a formal cost estimate as to what it would take Simply Water to do it.
And part of that could also be how many vendors are available to do it. How many people do this? So is it something where we could put together bids? Are there enough people doing it in the area that we could put together competitive bids? Or is it something that most people just rely on their water operator to install it once we know which vendor to buy the stuff from?
I think if I took a shot at answering your question right now, I would say that we know who installed the system at Rock House. They're
Yes.
capable of installing it. The second thing to note is there's no electrical aspect to this system. There's no power required. This thing is a passive It flows
Mm.
through these capsules and goes
Wow.
into the tank.
Oh, okay,
So it's basically a plumbing job.
okay,
You get the capsules, you saw it, it's pretty,
Yes.
you can review the pictures that we
Yes.
took of Rock House.
Mhm.
It was a pipe, they had an iron filter that was about this big before it went into
right.
their tall upright canisters, so that's
And-
what I know.
And we could certainly, reach out to that other vendor, for a competitive bid based on what our water operator comes in with. I think that would be smart
Sometimes
on
it-
our part.
Sometimes it's just a competitive situation that
Right,
works.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's involved.
Correct.
Right, okay. So that's the only thing I had, so I'll move on to your report if you're ready at
Yeah, I just have one thing.
9:30.
Because you weren't here last week, Jennifer, I asked this question, and I'm still confused with whether it happened or not. That monitor, am I to order that through my Prime account, or did you already go ahead and order that?
You sent an email saying you were gonna order,
I said I could,
not the monitor. The monitor has been ordered,
okay,
the actual monitor.
okay.
It was the
bracket,
bracket piece
The
that
Visa
you were
bracket?
gonna,
wall mounted.
because that was the price difference.
Okay,
That was a prime price that I can't get because we're not prime.
okay, then that's what I'll do. I
Okay.
thought it was the monitor and the Visa bracket.
No.
Okay, so just the Visa bracket.
Right.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
Yep.
Do you have anything else, Will?
I do, but I think that needs to come up under non-public, so I'm not gonna say anything right now.
Okay.
So at 9:31, we have Nancy's.
yeah, mostly it'll be things that we'll see under old business titled and, driveway stuff.
Okay.
I don't think we wanna be looking at driveways this afternoon.
No.
It's gonna be a little hot and we shouldn't be
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
So we'll need to set a time, and a date when we
Mhm.
will be looking at them.
How many driveways do we need to be looking at?
Well, we have
Well,
2 new applications.
Yeah, well, one is really, you know, the 17 right
Yep.
now, I'm not sure if you've gotten, like, or got a response, cause I haven't seen anything. If the gentleman sent anything back to Madison, about the address. So if you're still waiting on that, that's technically just one driveway app to review.
Okay.
Don, do you wanna?
Okay, and the other thing that I have listed is kayak racks.
Okay, let's,
Yeah,
Yes.
which is gonna be part of non-public as
Yeah,
well,
that's,
unless you wanted to speak publicly about the racks.
did you listen to that call?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's always some issues with them. But one of the things that I think we could possibly think about is long-term. The system, how we're gonna go ahead moving forward. It's a system set up, it's, you know, it was never intended to be the district's issue. So some of that we're gonna have to, in our spare time, see if we can think of some other ways that we could possibly deal with these, you know,
does the office have access to
the system?
the yearly database?
No,
No, do
That's a
not.
flaw.
yes.
Yeah.
This is another reason we should stay away from volunteer
Yes,
systems
Yes.
of any kind being involved with the government.
yes,
Thank you.
yeah,
You
so,
thank me now, but what we go to may not be something you thank me for, because I have no idea what it is yet, but it's gonna be simple.
Do we have,
the most simple thing would be the way it was always done.
was it a paper system?
Excel
First come,
spreadsheet.
first serve?
Spreadsheet?
First come, first serve.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but on a,
No, first come, first serve,
Wild West, stake your claim.
period.
Well, no,
It's
I
already
get that.
becoming Wild West, and
Okay,
that's with the,
I agree with first come, first serve on a yearly basis, okay? But at the same time, if we would need a paper record of who's got that particular rack, so
Why?
if it's
Why?
a dispute,
why? Why? I need
because
to know
if a
why.
person comes and says, no, that's my rack,
No.
oh no, we assign that to this person because he came in before you and you came in after there were no more racks.
It is
We don't-
virtually impossible for the office to become a mediator or try to track down whose kayak this is.
Right,
Am I allowed to give information on who I think owns the kayak so they can get in touch with that?
right,
Okay.
Absolutely
And we
not.
can't.
Alright, alright,
we can't, and it was always first come, first serve, people deal with it themselves.
We're starting conversations that I've had twice
Yes,
over the last 30 years.
oh,
Gets
more than
down
twice,
to- Gets down to even
more than
protecting,
twice,
get down to protecting the people who are known to be away from their house out in a boat in the pond and gaining access to their address so that you can pilfer their house because you know where they are and they're not coming back for
oh man.
an hour.
right,
These are the conversations we've had,
yes,
and it got resolved when somebody volunteered and got this going, was paying
There's-
attention to this, and as time goes on, volunteers become contemptuous of their own creation because it bogs them down, they're tied to it,
Yep,
right?
correct.
Okay.
So,
so like I said, I just wanted to throw out that
Yeah.
this is something that we are gonna have to think about and, come up with a long-term solution,
Okay.
you know, and,
so we pay money, even though it's volunteer work, we're reliant on somebody who is not within 100 miles of here when we have a problem, who works full-time, apparently.
Yeah,
And people are expecting to own the same rack space every year.
yeah,
They call it theirs. And that's beach property, which is expensive property, that they own and they don't pay any taxes on it. And they expect the service, and we pay money to support the technology that
Yes.
the volunteer uses. And it takes our time, it takes Jeff's time, now we know what loaded time costs, of sending a guy out in a truck with a pair of bolt cutters. That's not cheap.
right,
All of this is a mess.
right,
Yeah.
and it's not anything that the district was intended to deal with, ever,
okay.
you know? So,
So we leave it to you to solve this,
so,
because you haven't been through all these conversations, but don't bog us down in the conversation.
Well,
Right.
okay, I'm all
We'll just
for,
shoot at you as you come up with ideas.
I'm all for first come, first served basis and let the wild, wild west among them, not us.
right,
But we didn't start this year.
we did
that
not
way,
start this
we
year,
have
so right
a current
now,
problem.
Right, we have to stick with the current system this year, but next year
Right.
we can start.
but
it.
we'll have to,
And if
You
we
know?
go to a canoe rack and we don't have access to the database, somebody's telling us that this is the rack that they have.
right, and we don't know that,
We have our guy go out with bolt cutters. We have people calling that are annoyed.
right,
She sent the message this morning. I don't know
That
if
was
you have
just
heard
an
it.
example,
That's
I
an
heard it.
example.
I heard
So,
it.
we're not mentioning names, that's for the
No.
non-public part.
correct.
right,
But you see, the problem we have is we send a guy out and it costs a lot of money to stop doing what they're doing as far as advancing the roads. They cut something based on the say-so of party A. Party B says, nay, that's my space. They get the boat off, is the party A there to put their boat on immediately? So somebody else sees an opportunity, now we're into it again,
right,
this is what happens.
Yeah.
and
So,
it happens every year.
Yeah.
There's a half dozen of these or more every year,
is the volunteer system designer aware of the current state of things?
Correct.
He is.
I made him aware.
okay,
Okay, so,
So we have to get through this year,
yeah,
and so we'll deal with the ones.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this more in non-public session.
Yep.
Yes.
well, I just, my only question, without mentioning names, we're gonna discuss it in non-public, is this individual made a claim, and my question would be, wait a minute, did you register this year? Or did you just assume that was your rack going back many years?
We don't know because we don't have access.
we don't
to
have
the system.
access,
That's why the system doesn't
That's
work.
part of the problem.
Right, that's
Yes.
part of the issue, is that we don't deal with the system. And we're
And I
spending
think
money on it.
I think until we can access the state of the current system and the data in it to see who did what this spring, we can't take any action physically out at the boat
On
ramp,
any of them,
because it's all hearsay
Yeah,
right?
by people who think that that's what they did, but they didn't do that. But we can't do anything until we verify that.
Correct.
okay.
So let's save the rest of it.
Let's
for
save that
non-public
for the
session.
non-public, yeah.
Right.
And this was your commissioner's report?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, okay, we gotta do something with this.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna be able to do anything for this year.
No.
But moving forward, we really have to think about, how we're gonna do this, if we're gonna go back to first come, first serve, and get rid of the, registration form, or what are we gonna do? So I just wanted to throw it out that it's something we need to have a discussion on. And obviously we'll,
There's tremendous value to this, to the boat owners that put their boats in the racks. There is significant expense to the rest of the taxpayers who aren't using the boat racks,
correct.
and we need to normalize that. On to the next subject. For now.
The only other thing I had was at the very end of the last page of the payroll thing, there's prior commissioners listed. So the current commissioners are listed, but then at the very bottom, there's 2 prior commissioners listed. They did get paid in 2024, so I think that's why they were still there, but at this point, we can take them off.
Do you need a motion for that? I guess I didn't
I don't
notice.
know.
So I'll make a motion that we remove those names from the payroll manifest,
Second.
payroll reports.
It's actually the time. It's
Yeah.
It's time
That-
card.
Yeah, it's just the
But then it
timesheet at the
includes-
bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's the Excel.
All in favor of removing that?
aye.
3-0.
Okay.
Oh wait, there's more,
There it is.
I think.
No, that's all I
Oh,
have.
you are, you're done.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, under scheduled appearances, weren't we gonna have a property owner of a class 6 lot on Adelboden?
You never responded.
So,
Was there a request for us to go to him?
No, this is a different gentleman.
Oh, okay.
The one on Edelboden.
No, the guy on Burn is the gentleman that is requested.
Right,
Oh.
right.
Adelboden,
Simply
So,
said he
alright.
couldn't go
Couldn't
that
attend,
week, but then
but
we
that's-
haven't
let's
heard.
stop,
Back to
let's
me.
stop and
Okay.
discuss this Adelboden and the other one under non-public session.
Okay,
So no water, no public appearance.
Yep.
So at 9:43, we'll go to the administrator's report. And you actually have a couple of things here.
So have you reviewed the consumer 2025 that Simply Water did up, and she's wondering if you had any input, changes to it, etc.
I was okay with it.
I thought it.
Did everybody
I
else
thought
look
was
at it?
well.
I
I have
haven't
a
had-
copy.
I did not, I need to look at that.
Okay,
I'm taking the RL Heath check.
sure. So I've got a few copies here if you
Just-
wanna just take them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
I'll put it on.
Thank you.
So as a reminder, these have to go out soon.
Yeah, like they should be available this week.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, so we'll, should we do this, that we make a vote contingent upon having these read and approved in a day? How do we do this so that these can go out?
Make a motion that we You and I report back to Jennifer by no later than close of business today.
How about this? How about this? We go into non-public session from a public session. We come out of non-public session and we read this.
Read it, okay.
And vote to put it in the minutes that we
Gotcha.
approved it.
That
So
sounds
it's
like a
done
plan.
Perfect.
this afternoon without holding up Carol, and it just won't be on
Yep.
video.
Beautiful.
All right, so I have the Heath check to give to him for the Bergdorf
Yeah,
project.
I think she needs the bottom part.
No, I got my bottom.
Oh, okay.
Deliver that personally, Kelly?
Sorry. That's okay.
She did that all by herself.
She
It
did.
wasn't me.
She did. It was funny.
Okay. And you have Hotwell.
Well, yeah,
Is
so,
that
so this is
non-public
the
too?
newest one, the driveway application, that's the newest one, but again, you guys need to try to think about when you wanna schedule these, 'cause since today's not gonna be a good day.
Yeah.
And then we, on the 17 Riggy, we need to verify upstairs, if he's completed his portion, for signature.
Should we drive a stake in the ground about going out looking at driveways at the end of the week when it's not so oppressive,
Yes.
based on people's schedules?
Sure.
What works for you?
I don't know, let me consult my calendar.
So while he's doing that, we'll move on. And
Okay.
Okay, so, yep, so we've got that,
How many bids did
bid
we get?
auction.
Believe we only got one, right?
We only received one, which I kinda thought that that's how it was gonna occur anyway.
Friday.
Friday at 10?
Uh,
Careful.
yeah, no. I thought we were gonna move these back to the afternoon. Now that I'm no longer making that long commute.
Good grief.
Friday afternoons are not good unless it's after what time? 3?
Yeah.
All right, I could, how about, I could do Friday, I just would prefer it earlier
Then 10.
than 10, yes.
Oh,
I think you can get Nancy at 9, but no earlier than 9.
no,
Oh, you can certainly have me at 9.
okay,
I'll do 9.
this Friday.
So we're gonna do both of the, well, no, we can't do, definitely 42 Hutwell, maybe
Yes,
17
so
Riggy as
we'll
well.
start with 42.
Okay,
Well,
So we're
yeah,
at the point of the agenda that we're opening a sealed bid for an auction that was done under the new Idlewise Green Space Ordinance that allows an abutter to apply to the village to put it in front of the annual meeting to see whether the voters want to allow an abutting lot to be sold and merged to the highest bidder of every abutter around that lot. So that happened, the voters approved the sale of 20 Briston stock at a minimum bid of $16,900, and we got one bid back in.
One bid, and it's $21,100. And keep the envelope with it.
okay.
So the abutters to the east of the lot, the Lintons, have been the only bidders, and they exceeded the minimum amount.
Yep.
And it looks like the document is okay, so I'll make a motion that we sign this purchase and sale agreement, and I'll follow through and start the process of deed creation and help them get the lot merged through the Madison Planning Board, and then they'll own a lot that's probably twice as big as the lot that they have.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
So we'll sign this.
So what is the process? You take this to the Madison zoning or what,
They will have to take it to the, Madison Planning Board
planning board?
to, merge the lot.
When do we request payment?
It's in the ordinance.
Okay.
Um, So we're signing this on the 24th.
And I think they'll be very happy.
Yes. Relieved.
Yeah.
And this goes to help the July cash flow.
Yeah, provided the merge is done at that point. I don't know if it'll be done by the
Correct.
July tax,
Yeah,
It's a matter of when the
Due date.
check hits our bank as far as cash flow.
correct.
correct.
Well, congratulations to the Lintons. And that puts that lot
They're the winners.
back on the tax roll also,
Yes,
to
it does.
to a certain degree.
Mm.
So, do you have their email address? It might be on there, you probably,
do.
you wanna let them know?
Sure,
Oh, great. Some good news to deal with?
you know, somebody will actually be happy.
Rare occasion.
Next is the highway and parking ordinance review for signatures.
Yeah, so I didn't know if we got any response from
The chief.
the chief.
I have not.
Me neither.
So we're holding off on that then?
Do we want to, send a reminder email
Yes, I think we should.
asking him to please review and have it come from the office? Cause you never know. Sometimes if it comes from a person, that's where things might get,
So we're
No, it
looking.
should come from the
Are we
office.
looking from feedback from him?
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
just to make sure that everything's
Yeah,
worded so that it's enforceable.
correct.
You got a copy of Nancy's original email?
Yes, I
If you
do.
pull that up and
Yep.
send your email with that as the forward, so it's part of it. so-
Yep, that's the intent, yeah.
Very good,
Good, thank you.
thanks. So we move to driveway permit for construction, 10 Granville,
Nope, you skipped one.
Burn Drive.
Yeah, so did you
Oh,
wanna
okay.
talk further about that gentleman? He definitely wants to meet with either DPW or one or two of the commissioners, whoever is available, he's around this week. For you to talk to him about the different items that were mentioned in that letter that we sent him. So this is the driveway,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and then there was mention of,
Do we wanna make this part of our Friday morning 9 o'clock tour?
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah,
It can be
Okay.
number one,
Be number
Okay.
one, we could.
alright,
you don't have to go too far.
so can I let him know?
Yeah,
Alright, great.
Be there at 9?
okay.
Okay.
Should we have Jeff there as well?
Right.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah, we'll let Jeff know.
alright, beautiful.
All set with that? We'll move on to 10 Granville.
Yes. So we did the inspection, brought the paperwork to Jennifer, so we're ready to sign the permit for construction.
I'll make a motion that we sign this construction permit for a driveway for 10 Granville.
Second.
Aye.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. No correspondence? Public comments? public comments?
Everything's good.
No
I-
agenda items?
I have one more item for signature.
Okay.
I don't know if you wanna do this on public, this has to do with the new DPW employee, signature on his retirement application is needed. And I think Mark's signature is sufficient
I'll make a
enough.
motion that we sign the NHRS application for enrollment for Yuri Chesnall.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Put your phone number. All right,
Thank you.
so I think we've covered the entire agenda.
I believe we have.
The new calendar for the July meetings. There'll be a meeting on every Tuesday, July 1st, July 8th, July 15th, July 22nd, and July 29th. There's 5 meetings in July.
Yep, and I also sent a notification to, the water operator of our first meeting in July.
And we should do a financial review on July 1st.
Think so?
Cash flow and balance the
Yeah,
budget.
yeah, we can do that.
Be better than doing it in July 8th, where we're trying to get Jennifer out the door by 11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
so it'll,
make a motion-
just so everybody knows, it'll be, based on June's bank statements. Cause nothing from from
May.
May's, because June's bank statements won't be in by July 1st.
Right.
You know,
are we okay with that, or do we wanna delay it because of that?
no, I think we
We
can
do
get
it.
a look and then do it again
'Cause
a
we
couple
know-
weeks later or
We know what
something.
we did in June,
Right,
okay? So I'll make a motion, we go into non-public session under the RSA to protect reputations.
second,
How do you vote, Nancy?
Aye.
Yep.
How do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye also,
Okay.
3-0 on that. Thank you, Carol. And that's at 9:58. That clock's not